From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up! Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? Welcome on into Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's. I'm Aslan. Corey Clark here as well. It's his show, too, everybody. We work for Warchant.com. Use the promo code BEATMIAMI. It's the best promo going in all of the land. It gets you a year, heck, 15 months, and you get 25% off the yearly rate. That's right. You're only paying for a year, and you're getting 15 months and 25% off that yearly rate and a $25 e-card to Garnet and Gold. Also, friendly reminder, later today as you're listening to this on Friday, if you're in town for the game, come on out to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill off Appalachia Parkway. You can listen to Jeff Cameron do his great show from 3 to 6 remotely on site over there. And then from 6 to 7, Corey and I, Gene, Ira, the whole Warchant gang, Michael Langston, we'll be giving away some T-shirts. Bring your mobile device. Prove to us that you're a proud paying member of Warchant.com. We'll give you a free T-shirt. And then from 7 to 11, it will be the casino night. All benefits go to the Bar None Foundation. That is William Floyd's foundation that helps out underserved, underprivileged young men and women. Young boys and girls, actually, more accurately. So a fun-filled, packed weekend. And after they beat Miami, go to Zaxby's. Join me there. I'm going to go with the Smokehouse Cheddar filet sandwich, Corey. I don't know what ibis tastes like. I heard kind of like chicken. But why not put some cheddar on it and some barbecue sauce and some hand-breaded goodness of the filet sandwich, and then put on the Texas toast and then have a great old time. Onion rings on there too. I don't want the bacon, but if you want the bacon, you can have the bacon, Corey. You want the bacon? You can have the bacon.
Man, I always want bacon. You know that. And I heard ibis taste. It's a little gamey.
Okay.
So it's like what would you say, like a pigeon? You ever had pigeon?
I did back in '97. I was trying
really gamey pigeon.
A little too much. All right, we got some questions to get through from yesterday's remnants of the Renegade Express. We also have over-unders to do as Corey tries to pad his lead. I try to catch up. You folks try to get some free gear, courtesy of our great friends at Zaxby's. But first, let's talk about the news that came down, 15 minutes or so after most of us left campus after speaking to Willie on Thursday morning, and that is, we want Bama. I don't. I mean, it's cool, though. It's awesome. Florida State and Alabama announced they've agreed to a home-and-home series in intercollegiate tackle football 2025. I think August 30th, maybe, so it should be the opener. Alabama's coming to Doak Campbell Stadium to play football. That's pretty cool. And then we'll follow the favor, and we'll repay it in 2026. It'll be in Tuscaloosa, on-site, on campus, home-and-home. The team of the 90s versus the team of the aughts and the teens. Awesome, right? Give me that money.
It's 6 years from now, so there's at least how didn't Saban, he have a birthday on Thursday? How old is he now? Can you look that up, Aslan?
Absolutely, Corey.
He's got to be close to 70, right? Is he going to be coaching Alabama in 2025?
I think Belichick left. He's always said he wouldn't coach after 70, and he's recently left the door open for that. Nicholas Lou Saban Jr., happy belated birthday, Coach, turned 68 on Halloween. Okay,
so he'll be 73 when that game is played. And you said it's the opener too. It's in August.
It should be, yeah. That's what the date showed. Yeah, August 30th.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't like about it. I love that they're doing this. I love it. I think you're actually looking out for your fans for once. That place is going to be packed. It does not matter what state the Florida State program is in. That place will be packed for that game. Everybody's going to come far and wide for that game. I just hate it's the first game. Just make it the second game. It just does you it does you no favors to play a really good team, which we assume Alabama will be even 6 years from now, the first game of the season. Just it's hard. It's hard. Anyway, that being said, I think it's awesome. We don't know who the coaches at either program will be. It could be Taggart versus Saban. It could be Venables versus Dabo.
Ooh.
How about that?
Sexy.
That could be something.
Look at that. Their ratings. Ooh, I got a tingle.
I'm telling you. So it could be a lot. There's a lot of different machinations it could take this game, but I just think it's awesome that that these schools are doing this and that Florida State realizes, man, enough with the neutral site nonsense, enough with it. And yeah, you're losing a home game the following year, but you're also guaranteeing in 2025, if the world is still around and we're
True.
still playing sports,
Very valid.
that you're going to have a sellout. And you can roll your eyes at that, but look at this season, man. What do you think they've legitimately had their last 2 home games?
Oh, man.
Like maybe 48, maybe 50. I know the Louisiana Monroe was like right at 50 or 48 or something like that. Like you're talking about probably actually about 90 or 95,000 tickets sold to your last 2 home games. Well, guess what, man? You got one game that's going to give you 80,000. That's you're making money. You're doing a good and you could sell them for whatever you want. Season tickets will be hard to come by that year, I think, because of that game. People might buy season tickets just solely for that game. I shouldn't say season tickets will be hard to come by, but tickets to that game will be hard to come by. And people legitimately might buy season tickets just to have access to that game. That's how big a deal it is. And it's really cool that they're doing it. And they're doing it with Georgia too, whenever that is. Again, if football, granted, the qualifier being if football is still being played and the world is still spinning, because those things are a little ways out. But that's awesome to see. It's really good for your program, really good for your fans. And I'm glad college football is getting back to this instead of the $1 million buy games or the neutral site nonsense. It's cool, man. It's going to be really cool to see Alabama in Doak Campbell Stadium.
I don't have the NC State game. Announced attendance for Boise was 50,917. Obviously, that was very short notice due to the hurricane that was approaching. The announced attendance for Louisiana Monroe was 52,969. Louisville was the real stinker, if you will. 46,513 was the announced attendance for that game, which was the lowest.
And that's the announced attendance,
right.
Which might be truthful, but let's round down a little bit and say that's 90. You're looking at about 92, 95,000 tickets for 2 games. So, okay, in 2026, you're losing a home game. Okay, great, but how many people would you have had at that home game anyway? In 2025, if that home game is the Citadel or Louisiana Monroe as opposed to Alabama, how many people are coming to that? 45, 50? And how many people are you? So you're really losing out on about 10 or 12,000 ticket sales. But at what expense? You know what I mean? There's really no risk here with this one because heck, even if your fans think you're going to get wrecked, we have no idea what the Florida State program will be in 2025. But Alabama will bring fans. You'll finally have a team in this place that will bring their own fans. So trust me, that the stadium is going to be sold out for the first time, I don't know, since the Virginia Tech game. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I don't know what the next 5 years holds for us. But it's just you get so tired of seeing these half-empty the Doak half-empty or 55,000. And it's, some of it's not the fault. I mean, these ACC teams, they're not big names, and they don't bring any fans ever. Like Syracuse might have had the biggest contingent of any team that's been in this stadium this year, and it was like 200. Like they just don't bring any fans. Well, guess what, man? Alabama, if you let them, will bring 25,000 fans. You don't want that. You want them all to be Florida State fans, but you're guaranteed of a sellout. Guaranteed, which is good because who knows what the next 5 years holds with Florida State football and how many sellouts you're going to have. So you need to make it you need to give these fans something that to get excited about. And Alabama at home is something to get excited about. I mean, till the game starts, but it's a cool prospect that Alabama and Georgia, who have neither one I don't believe have ever played in Tallahassee, are both going to be playing in Tallahassee in the next decade.
Yeah, it will be the first time that these teams have met in Tallahassee. The return trip will be September 19th, 2026, the following year. So that will not be the opener. Florida State will be able to have a couple wins rolling into that one. So that ought to be nice and encouraging. But
what do you think? You excited about it, or would you rather not do it?
It's being kind of picky, I guess. I do like the whole on-campus game against a Power 5 team that has a good sort of tradition. Alabama might be a little too much to handle. But then it's like Southern Cal, it would be easy to get Southern Cal to come out here. They've already been here before, so maybe it doesn't have as much juice. No, man, this is it's all about dollars, everybody. This might be like the Willie Taggart Memorial game. We might actually remember, this is a game they booked 6 years prior to get the money to finally pay off the last installment of it. Or it might be to help pay for the championship parade that happened the year prior. So it's all about dollars and cents with these things. And, it's hard. It's really hard to find a negative to a great team like Alabama, even if, Saban's 3 years removed from being there. I don't know how rocky they'll be. And if they are, then it's like, great, bring a lousy SEC team here. We'll thump them. And it'll be great. It'll be very sort of cathartic. So, yeah, I'm all about it. All about it. I'll be in the press box, freezing my rear end off.
6 years is a long time.
Yeah,
it's a long time. We don't know what Alabama will be in 6 years. I have a hunch they'll probably be pretty good because I don't see him retiring in the next year. But even if he's retired 3 or 4 years from now, you got to think the Saban remnants will still be sprinkled all over that program, and they'll still be pretty darn good no matter who the coach is. But if they don't have Nick Saban, all right, well, they're not. Maybe they're not to be that feared. But I'm guessing Alabama will still be pretty good a half decade from now.
If you had $1,000 to wager on the head coach of Alabama in 2025 will be Nick Saban, Dabo, or the field, who would you put the $1,000 on?
The field.
Okay.
I don't see Dabo leaving Clemson. That was a joke earlier. And I mean, that 70, what would he be? What'd you say he'd be? 73, 74?
Yeah, 73.
He'd be turning 74 that season. Man, that's why at some point, don't you just be like, okay, I want a new challenge. Like I want to go do something else. Are you just going to keep winning SEC championships? And
yeah, it's boring.
I get when you're a competitor, really that's what you want to do.
Yeah,
but
really boring and unfulfilling life he's leading right now as a competitor, Corey. Yeah, let's do something else.
But
that's
how?
boring.
I mean, they don't. Who does that? Phil Jackson did just keep coaching the Bulls
Bobby
and the
Bowden.
Lakers.
Bobby Bowden wasn't even doing good. Come on.
Yeah, but yeah, maybe. Maybe so. Bobby Bowden did do it. But Bobby Bowden's different. He didn't seem number one, Bobby Bowden been there a long time, but he had a 12-year run. If Saban's still there in 2025, you're looking at a 17 or 18-year run of complete dominance. And can he still have and look, Bobby Bowden is a great coach, but he and Saban are completely different mindsets. I don't think anybody thinks Bobby Bowden was waking up at 4:15 in the office at 5, leaving at 10 p.m. Like he wasn't one of those coaches. He delegated.
Yeah.
Saban doesn't. Like, is he still going to be going that strong and that hard as a 74-year-old with 9 national championships or whatever he's going to have by then?
He'll figure out a way to work smarter. Yeah, Bobby had a bigger picture look to life. I think that's why when he didn't even want to let go. Saban's whole thing, they always ask him about when he thinks about the end of his career, and he's always talked about, I've always been a part of a team as long as I can remember. I cannot remember the last time in my life I was not part of a team, whether it's actually coaching or being a player. And if he's still doing well, he's in good health, I don't see him walking away just because society says, it's been a good run, man. Pass the baton. If he's still winning football games, man, yeah, he's going to want to be part of it. He's going to want to collect the checks.
He seems like to have the personality. If he can't go full speed and be the same guy that he's always been, he might be the guy that's like, man, I don't want to do this anymore if I'm not me. Yeah. If I'm falling asleep in my chair watching film, I don't need to be doing this anymore.
No, you're right.
Bobby Bowden didn't have any qualms about doing that. No offense to the guy, but he didn't. Yeah. Can you imagine? And I'm not, again, Nick Saban might turn into this person. I would be stunned. But can you imagine Nick Saban being what Bobby Bowden was in 2008 and 2009?
Well, Bobby was also was he like 76 when he finally?
Well, I think he was like, maybe 80, 79 or 80. I mean, he was up there. But I mean, it's not like in 2006 he was really involved either, or when he was in his mid 70s.
Yeah.
He made most of his bones being a great delegator. Like that's when the dynasty started, is when he hired good coaches and let them coach, and he coached the coaches, is what he always said. Saban's not just a coacher, and he has to replace assistants every year.
Well, by then Kirby will be
didn't
back.
Have to do that.
Kirby will flame out at Georgia. Kirby will come back home to Dad. He'll come back home to Nick.
Yeah, that's true. Kiffin might be the OC again.
Yeah. Bowden,
anyway.
Bowden, by the way, born in 1929, making it that he was 80 that final season of his. Crazy. 80.
Isn't that nuts? Yeah, I mean, but again, he wanted another. He didn't want to go, but it's not like he was doing all the work that was requisite to be a very good head coach. Nick Saban does, and it would be really bizarre to me if he could turn into that guy. And if he can't turn into that guy, is it even feasible to be a 74, 75-year-old man and still be working like a 30-year-old? No. Could be. Hey, man, I'm not ageist. I would be surprised if he still has that fire and burn and competitiveness with 9 national championships and, 12 SEC championships and a gazillion wins, and he's still like breaking down Florida State film in July of 2025 getting ready for that game.
I don't disagree with you. I would put the money on Dabo. I think Dabo would be
You
there.
think so? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, let's get back to the questions left over in the mailbag. This one comes from MCC Campbell. Wake up, Corey. I hate early morning practices also. Question for both Corey and Aslan. True response is this game, Miami, October 30th, 2019 at 3:30 is a must-win. Well, it definitely wasn't October 30th because the game would have already been played, champ. But I think he's trying to say this game is a must-win for FSU if Coach Taggart is to be here on the sidelines for the 2020 season. So far, the must-wins that we don't win seem to move to the next game. Sometimes there has to be a line drawn, not in the sand, but concrete with anybody's employment at any job. I have my opinion, don't mind sharing it, but y'all first. Would like y'all's thoughts. It'll be pivotal. It's going to be a big. I don't think any one game is going to be like the determining sort of factor or the number one thing in like the exit interview when he does leave this university. If this thing doesn't end up working out, it'll be the thing that gets him called in the office on Sunday morning. But it'll be an accumulation of things. It'll be it won't be the one game. I don't think one single game will do it. But maybe this could be it.
It's been a weird season because it doesn't feel like it has been. We've kind of kicked the can down the road. Like that Virginia game was going to be the referendum to see if they went up there and got blown out and played like they did in the first 2 weeks on defense. You're like, what are we doing here? Yeah. We're 3 games into a second season, and this is a train wreck. But they did play better. They almost won. And then the Louisville-NC State games, if they'd have lost either one of those games to 2 not good teams, although Louisville's better than we probably thought, but with a first-year head coach. If they'd have lost to Louisville, coming off what Louisville went through in 2018, and a first-year head coach, and you're losing at home to that program, or an NC State with a terrible quarterback. Like all those things, if you lose those games, you're like, man, how do you come back from this? But they won, and then you kick it down the road. And just like last week, I thought was a big week in the sense that if you lose, it becomes a horrible loss. A horrible loss. So now we're to the Miami game, and you're like, okay, is this the biggest game of Willie Taggart's career? Because I feel like I've said that 3 times this year already, and I'm pretty sure I have. But yes, not just because it would mean another loss, a 5th loss. It's because I don't know that you would win another game for the whole season outside of Alabama State, and because I don't trust you to go win at Boston College after losing to Miami, and I'm certainly not expecting you to beat Florida. So there you are again at 5-7. That's why this is a monumental game. And I don't know that you can survive 2 straight 5-7 seasons at this place, even if you do seem moderately improved. So at some point, you got to win games. You got to win these games that really matter. And this is a huge game.
Well, that's the thing. If they were to lose against Miami, and I think they're going to win. So I'm sure people are like, well, I keep talking about it. You guys keep asking us. Yeah, but then what if they bounce back and they win against Boston College? And then you beat Alabama State and you're still going bowling, So, again, who knows? Just because I understand the whole thought process that this is like a 2-for-1 game. Like you beat Miami, you're beating Boston College, and you're beating Alabama State. I mean, almost a 3-for-1. But the thought, if you lose to Miami, you're probably not going on the road the next week and beating Boston College. But we didn't think they would stand much of a chance against Virginia after the Louisiana Monroe debacle. And they looked really good. That might have been some of the best football this team has played since Willie Taggart's been here. So, yeah, I mean, there's always seems to be like a salvageable moment for Willie whenever it seems like he's going to probably lose, what's remaining of his support within the fan base. There's kind of a redeeming thing he finds. So,
or somehow if you lose those 2 games, but somehow win at Florida, your job's safe if you beat Florida this year. I mean, again, we don't expect that to happen, but it could. So this isn't like necessarily a must-win game. Like he's fired if he doesn't win. When I say that, I'm projecting the rest of the season. 4-5 heading into that stretch at BC and at Florida. I don't expect them to get to 6 wins. And also, what if you lose because you don't call a timeout? There's a lot of things that could happen. Say you're down 17-16 and you're driving for a game-winning field goal attempt, and you burn a timeout when you're not supposed to avoid delay a game, and then you're rushing Ricky out to kick a field goal, and he doesn't get it off in time before the clock runs out or something like that. If you mismanage, if you completely bog down and mismanage the end of a game again, a close game again, for the 3rd time, man, again, it's not just how you lose, it's not just that you lose, it's how you lose, how you look doing it, and why you lose. And if you lose because of bungled up clock management at the end of the game where it doesn't look like you know what you're doing as a staff on the sideline, That's hard to come back from. But if you lose because, I don't know, there are a couple horrendous calls. They don't, they call a double pass on a perfectly legal lateral or something like that. That might be different. It does matter. It does matter how you lose too. If you lose 31-30 and it's a really good game and Miami gets incredibly lucky on a few plays, yeah, you're going to be frustrated. You're going to be like, is this ever going to turn around? But it's not going to be, man, we were just completely outcoached. We've got to get somebody on the sideline that knows what they're doing. There's ways that you could even salvage a loss, but very few. Granted, you just don't want to lose this game. Let's not even talk about a loss, Aslan.
Yeah, let's talk about the flip side of it. Big Steve-O 22 said that the stat about Blackman's completions on throws of 20 or more was quite eye-opening. Do we know Hornibrook's completion percentage on those throws? We do not. Outside of arm strength?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Okay.
It was like 8 of 14.
Okay, that's really good.
But it's not as many, right? And he's not throwing them as far. But yeah, I think it was like 8 of 14 or 8 of 15 compared to 5 of 28.
Yeah.
But the blitz numbers were the most important numbers, I thought.
Outside of the arm strength, what I like about Hornibrook over James is the poise, not necessarily poise in the pocket, but just in general, he doesn't seem to get rattled for making mistakes or getting sacked. He appears to show short-term memory that all coaches preach that their quarterbacks should have. Now to the future. Let's say FSU wins out, including in Gainesville, and Willie and company convince Marv, Cam, and Terry to come back, like how a few pieces stayed around from 2012 that would play on the 2013 team. What would your excitement be for next year? Would it depend on how we won out? I know this is a dream scenario, but it's okay to dream sometimes. Yeah, man, give me a new defensive
Now, am I
coordinator.
dating Jessica Alba in that dream? Who are you dating in that dream scenario? Who are you going with?
Margot Robbie.
Okay, that's cool. We could double date.
Yeah.
I think Jessica likes to dance, so you wouldn't mind going to like a local. Tallahassee has places we can dance, right? Maybe we'll go to Bulls.
Okay, maybe the Moon.
And on a Friday night,
Stetson's at the Moon or whatever it's called, right? Isn't that a thing?
I don't know. Is Jessica gonna do country dancing? I don't know if she does line dance and stuff. I think she wants to get dirty dancing type stuff. So yeah, in that scenario, I guess I'm dating Jessica Alba. It might no Mila Kunis. I changed my mind. Sorry, Jessica, you're out. Mila. So it's Mila Kunis and I, and you and Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, what the question was? What's the excitement level?
Yeah. Well, I guess you couldn't.
Well,
my whole thing was
I'm crazy excited.
Okay.
And no offense to Stephanie, she knows I love her, great girlfriend, but she would get it if it's Mila Kunis.
Right.
Like she understands.
Yeah. Just like if it was Steve Buscemi for her, it'd be great.
Or Anthony Jeselnik. She's in love with Anthony Jeselnik, the comedian.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I got it.
So I understood. We have an understanding.
Yeah.
So in this dream scenario, yeah, Terry and Akers are all coming back. Marvin Wilson, they've somehow won at Florida. You're dating Margot Robbie somehow, and I'm I guess shacking up with Mila Kunis probably. If she's going to come to Tallahassee, she has to live somewhere. I think the excitement would be
9-4.
Sky high.
9-4 wins over Miami and Florida, and you got Cam and Marv and Terry coming back. Excitement, and my whole thing was give me a new defensive coordinator. I'm stoked, but shoot, if you go 9-4, you win out. Harlan kept his job, I would imagine, unless you're winning games 45-42 the whole way.
And you haven't done that. You haven't scored over 40, but one time, and that was in an overtime game against Louisiana Monroe. So yeah, the defense will have come correct. Will have figured some things out. In all seriousness, obviously they're not. That is a dream scenario. I don't foresee any of that happening. Maybe one of those guys comes back. But I think if you finish, you could still finish with 8 wins this season, even counting the loss to Florida. You can finish 8-5 after going 5-7. If most of your defensive guys come back besides Marvin, if all your defensive guys come back besides Marvin, I know Durden and Janaris could technically test the waters. You're returning, I think, 21 of your top 29 or 24 of your top 29 players on defense. You're probably going to have a new defensive coordinator. Yeah, there's a little bit to be excited about, especially if you look good in this last stretch. The thing that kind of was cool about the end of the 2017 season, I thought, was that Blackman did look like a lot better quarterback the last 4 games. Mm-hmm. Really did. Now, it didn't translate, but I think people kind of were excited about, at least I was, his progress going into 2018. And if you look at the end of 2019 and your team does this, you're not gonna know who your quarterback's going to be, because assuming Hornibrook's going to be the quarterback for the majority of the rest of the season. But if you go 4 or 5 games, if you win out except for Florida, and win your bowl game, there'll be a modicum of excitement, right? I mean, you're not going to have Akers, but people will be like, okay, Willie's kind of got this thing turned around. Bryles is staying. We've got a new quarterback coming in, whether it's Sims or King or whoever else is on the transfer market. And we were really close to winning 10 games this year. So maybe next year we do win 10 games. Yeah. You might even start the preseason ranked. That would be something.
Also, fun side fact note for you, Aslan. I know you covered sports in Dothan, so you know how small Daleville, Alabama is. Fun fact, the leading rusher in high school currently resides in Daleville. His name is Jalen White. He's got 3,381 rushing yards and 46 touchdowns through 10 games. I actually saw that.
What in the world? Who is he playing?
I saw that. Not very good competition, really.
You don't say. He's averaging 334 yards and 5 touchdowns per game.
But, I mean, when I was there, Daleville wasn't doing much of anything. So to have a guy that's running for that many yards is
Do they play middle school teams?
No, but the Wiregrass, as they call that area of Alabama, is not the most talent-rich part of that state. It's not metropolitan Montgomery or Birmingham or Huntsville. It's those teams rarely do well in football in that area. So
all right.
That's still something to hang out on.
Do you think Mila likes Zaxby's?
I mean, she really has no choice. Kind of married into it. Deal with it.
Good point.
Deal with it. Speaking of quarterbacks, Mr. Clutch _1992, is it safe to say FSU was a great quarterback away from a 10-11 win season? I think the QB3 quote from Willie is a slap in the face to Jordan Travis. Why not give him a game or two since he's mobile?
Well, I think the QB3 comes from the number.
Right. CP3, QB3. Yeah.
Well, CP7. Come on, get it right.
Well, I'm saying basketball, that's the more popular.
Oh, but we had our own CP in Tallahassee, buddy. Don't you remember the Heisman campaign?
Doubt Willie remembers that one.
Probably not. Yeah, so I think that was just the number of acres. I don't think he was saying he was the third-string quarterback.
Right.
But, yeah, you talked about it. You asked me, when was that, Monday or Tuesday, about if Justin Fields was the quarterback of Florida State, what their record would be. And I couldn't argue with you.
Or Jalen Hurts. Any of the hot name free agent quarterbacks that were out there.
Jalen Hurts especially because of the running dynamic. I think they would be averaging over 200 yards a game rushing if they had Jalen Hurts and Cam Akers in the backfield together.
Ooh, on that read option stuff. Ooh,
absolutely, man. I legitimately, and yeah, as goofy as that sounds. Now I don't know if that means the program has made great strides that they're only one player away from being a top 10 team right now or a top 12 team. As much as the schedule hasn't been all that daunting so far. None of these teams have been very good, really. None of them.
Yeah.
Other than Clemson. But yeah, I think if you had Justin Fields or Jalen Hurts, if they had decided to transfer to Florida State, or if Florida State, has signed a quarterback the last couple of years and developed him into something, yeah, I think you could be 7-1 right now. I think you would be 7-1 right now.
Yeah.
But that's not fair, though, right? That's not fair to to Blackman, but I think it's the truth. I think you've been a few plays away in every game, and that also lets the defense off the hook a little too much for my taste.
Yeah,
because the defense has been pretty bad late in games, or just bad in general earlier in the season. So I think that kind of lets them off the hook a little bit. But if you had a great quarterback to go along with a great running back and a pretty darn good wide receiver, man, I think you got 7 wins right now.
A serious question, Mr. Clutch _1992 ends on, when is the last time FSU had a punt return for a touchdown or a defensive score? I remember Levante's pick 6 against Samford, but this used to be a recurring thing. Now it's like seeing a new hair grow on Corey's head. Ouch.
Hey, man, what's that about?
Matthews
I would
better show
DJ?
out or knock somebody on their rear end. FSU 24, Miami 17, he says.
Okay, good. DJ against Miami last year was the last punt return.
Yep.
I just don't think you see it much. I think, and Jimbo was right about this too, when people would always complain about punt returns for one reason or the other. He's like, it's just really hard to do it now because what he would talk about is guys fielding the ball inside the 10, that you're never supposed to do that. And he'd like, look, it's a different game than it was 20 years ago. These guys punt it so high and the gunners are already down there. If you let it bounce at the 7-yard line, it's going to roll to the 1. So, sometimes you do need to catch a ball at a 7. But he also said that about punt returns. These guys with the rugby style, they buy time, they let their gunners get down the field, and they punt it so high. It is really hard to return punts now. That's why you got to go catch them. It's really hard to make plays now, even more than 10 years ago when Greg Reed was catching everything and flying up the field. That's just not really. you look around the country, you don't see a ton of punt returns for touchdowns anymore. And
Well,
it used to happen, I don't know, all the time. It seemed like every Saturday there'd be 10 or 12 punt returns for touchdowns across the country. Now there might be 1 or 2. Just doesn't seem to happen much.
What would you rather have outlawed, the shift in baseball or these exotic sort of blocking formations for punt safe? And I mean, like, they should go back to having to punt the ball the way they punted the ball in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Like, what would you rather have happen? I'd rather them do that. Like, punt like a man, put freaking 10 guys on the line, your punter's out there solo, or maybe he's got one up back, and see what happens. These human walls you can form, so you can't block a punt anymore, and then you put your scholarship 4-star guy as a gunner, and he runs a 4-4. You've eliminated an entire segment of the game. It's annoying. Knock it off.
I would still go. I agree with you on that, but I would still go with the shifts in baseball.
Yeah. Cowards play.
Absolutely.
Let's change gears real quickly. We got about 3 more questions, then we'll get to over-unders. Eskimo Randy, what up, guys? Changing gears for a second. Wanted to ask about basketball. What should our expectations be for the team this year? Is this a rebuilding type year or reload? Has the program reached a point where we should expect them to reach the tournament at the very least every year?
I think so. I think a realistic expectation for this season. I mean, man, losing Terrence, you lost a lot of talent. Man and Cabangeli, were
NBA
2 of your
guys.
3 best players last year. And then you lost Savoy, you lost Nichols, you lost Kofor. I mean, you lost some serious talent off last year's team. So I think the ceiling is maybe an 8 or 9 seed in the NCAA tournament. It's a really hard schedule too. So, I think if you get it to an 8 or 9 seed in the NCAA tournament, you'll have done a really good job. I do think Devin Vassell is going to be one of the breakout players in the ACC this season. Trent Forrest is obviously one of the best players in the conference this season. But other than that, it's a lot of question marks, a lot of them. So I don't know, man. And you start off with such hard games.
Yeah.
I think if you can get to 19 or 20 wins, because you play a 20 games conference schedule this season, and it's going to be a bear because the ACC is. If you can go 10-10 or 9-11 in the ACC with all these young guys and guys with very little experience, that's a good season in my mind. Not because Florida State needs to be okay taking a step back. It's just, man, at a place like Florida State, when you cycle through 6 seniors who were like Cabangeli was a sophomore, but a big time player, junior, whatever he was. When you cite, it's not Kentucky or Duke. It's really hard to replace those guys, and those guys were big time parts of this program. So I expect a step back, but not a significant one, because they do have talent. It's just young talent.
Running Knoll, wake up! Love the show. I'm a devoted, fanatic daily listener. You guys do a great job. Super entertaining and informative. Corey, your column on Cam brought tears to my eyes. He is an awesome player and a humble young man. I'm going to Boston and very happy it's a noon game. Feeling cautiously optimistic about Miami and wondered if I should wear my "Sucks to Be You" shirt on Friday. 5-star review on iTunes coming up. Go eat at Zaxby's. P.S. Last weekend was the best homecoming in years. Wear the shirt.
Okay.
Wear the shirt. Remove the adjective off optimistic, or the what's the modifier when you put an adjective in front of another adjective? Well, no, optimistic's being a verb, right? I'm terrible at grammar. Be optimistic.
What was the context? I wasn't listening. Sorry.
Feeling cautiously optimistic about Miami. I was trying to say she can upgrade that to optimistic.
Yeah, cautiously would be the adverb.
Okay, adverb. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. She liked
It's
your
all right,
column,
buddy.
Corey. Tell her that you appreciate the compliment. Be nice.
Thank you very much. We need we get great support, but we need more. I love daily listeners. That's great. It's crazy that y'all listen to this. I love it. Just because I think at some point you get tired of hearing me, but because I get tired of listening to myself. But if you guys like it, we're keeping on doing it. We're keeping on. So we need 5-star reviews. We need 5-star ratings. Didn't you say you should even unsubscribe and then subscribe again?
Yes, everybody. Subscribe to the podcast. It's free. And I know when you hear the word subscribe, you're like, man, you're trying to get more money out of me. We already subscribed to the website. It's just like nomenclature in the business. If you have an iPhone or an Apple device, like use the podcast app and subscribe. If you've got an Android, use Google Podcasts, go to the Play Store, download the Google Podcast app, and then just search us and then hit subscribe. And literally every show, as soon as it's published, which is usually 12:01 in the morning, it'll be right there on your phone waiting for you. So
I want to clarify that I was listening to the question. I wasn't listening to you after the question was asked. I didn't want people to think I was rude, but I did look up something.
Okay.
There have been 36 punt returns for touchdowns this season in all of FBS.
What do you think about that number? Is that low or is that surprising?
That's probably a little higher than I would imagine.
Yeah.
Tennessee has 3, by the way.
Look at that.
That's crazy.
Charles
Jeremy
Kelly
Pruitt getting it done over there.
Well, actually, no. Charles Kelly isn't there. Is Charles Kelly there? Or is he at Alabama now? He's at Alabama. He was at Tennessee. He was 1 year. He was at 1.
Oh, okay. All right. So, but that's 36 over the span of 9 weeks. So that's 4 a week. So they don't happen a lot. Out of 50 games, 55 games, it happens. 4 times. So what is that? I'm not doing the math. 5%. 6%. It doesn't matter.
I didn't even know what an adverb was. You're going to make me do math. I didn't even know what an adverb was. Now I have to do math. Come on.
I thought that was your strength.
2 final questions. Noles MG4. Wake up. Good morning, my favorite podcast. I would first like to thank you all for keeping the season in great perspective. My question is this. How much impact do you think Coach Duggan's knowing that defense inside and out will help in preparation this week? On a side note, would love to have a football conversation with the great Corey Clark one day. 5-star. Always.
Nice. Okay. Well, hey, I guess I'm available. If you meet me out, come say hey. And obviously don't make eye contact. Don't ask for autographs or pictures. But I'll talk to you for a few minutes. But yeah, no, whatever you want to. Hey, I'm out and about. I'll be at the corner pocket for that for the William Floyd thing on later on tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'll be talking football there.
Yeah,
that's a good question. I hadn't even thought about the Duggans thing because I was going to say, well, it's a brand new coaching staff, but it doesn't matter. Well, no, that's not true.
Right.
That's the same defense they were running. But I really don't know because is there anything that Duggans could? I mean, Bryles and the coaches have watched all the film, so I don't think it's necessarily like here's a cheat sheet, here's a cheat code to beat Miami's defense. It's you got to make plays. I don't think they're real complicated in what they do. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I actually saw this question last night or the night prior before going to talk to Willie, so I actually asked Willie this question. And,
okay.
Yeah, so thanks, Noles MG, for doing my job for me. Willie kind of pivoted and was saying that in terms of, obviously it helps. I was like, how much of an asset is it having Ron this week? He's like, well, it's an asset to have everybody, but obviously Ron was there last year. He was saying it's valuable more in terms of what Duggans knows about the offense, even though they have a different scheme, just the way he knows their personnel is kind of the quote value. Although I would think it's the opposite. I would think it's him going up against that defense every week in practice because it's different guys coaching the defense, but it's still Manny Diaz's defense. I would figure he would know the ins and outs or the tendencies of the defense that that Diaz likes to run. That'd be the more value, but it seems like Willie's thing was he gives a better idea
Willie
of
on this
offensive
one.
personnel.
Yeah, I think I agree with Willie, though, because, again, I don't know that Duggans can tell Bryles he hasn't discerned from watching hours and hours of film of what they're trying to do. But if Duggans, he's gone up against those corners and those DBs for the last 2 or 3 years. He knows them. And he's like, okay, well, look, 21 has terrible ball skills, and he interferes all the time if he's even close to getting beat or whatever little tidbits he might know on the actual players. Like you can get him with a slant and go.
Well,
or
Willie
he plays way off because he's scared of getting beat deep. Stuff like that, maybe.
Well, Willie was talking about the personnel on offense. So I think it's more of like telling the DBs, like telling like Harlan, like, yo, or Stanford, hey, listen, 17 when he's on the boundary, does this, blah, 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 or whatever. He'll do this. This is his tell kind of a thing. So, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, it wasn't like this defense struggled to contain Miami last year. So, but any little bit helps. I mean, when you really think about it, when you factor in, and I know things change, but when you look at that game last year, and it's in Tallahassee, you're going to have a guy like Hornibrook that's, you hope is not going to turn the ball over recklessly. I mean, he might have a turnover here or there, but you're going to hope that it's not 2 in the matter of 2 drives in the fourth quarter deep in your own territory. Cam's running better. This offensive line's obviously more improved. I don't know where the defense is compared to what they were last year. I mean, when you really add all this sort of stuff up, it's really hard to. It's hard to. I mean, it's not hard to imagine, but it's things everything really is trending in Florida State's favor in this game when you really think about it from the 5,000 feet up in the air look, I feel like.
Yeah, but if Hornibrook throws a couple picks, you're going to lose. And there's nothing that says he won't. I mean, I know he's been pretty good about not doing that. He's also gotten pretty lucky on a couple throws that should have been picked or could have been picked. Or if he gets strip sacked and fumbled because he doesn't see somebody beats the left tackle in a nanosecond and he doesn't see it, or right tackle, I guess in his case, in a nanosecond, he doesn't see it. There's a lot of stuff that can happen. It does. I mean, I think Florida State, to me, is maybe a little bit better. I think their offense is better. I think their kicking game, crazily, is a little bit better. Miami has the better defense, and anything can happen when you have when good defense usually travels. And I don't know how much the home field advantage will matter when you're going up against that defense, but we'll see. By the way, I'm fascinated with this punt return stuff. So Tennessee has returned 3 punts for touchdowns. Do you know how many punt returns total they have on the season?
7.
9.
Wow.
In eight games. And FIU leads the country in punt returns with a 28.13 average, and they've returned 8 punts. Alabama's 4th. They've returned 16, and they force teams to punt all the time. Yeah. Like, there's just I would guess, looking at these numbers, like 65% of punts or 70% of punts these days are either not fielded at all or fair caught. There's just no – you look at up the top 10, Georgia Southern is 9th. They've returned 6 punts all year. Utah State is 8th. They've returned 5. BYU 7. I mean, it's crazy. Anyway, thought that was interesting, right? So you get like one chance at a punt return all game maybe these days.
Thanks, Pat McAfee. Last question. R. Walling. Aslan, please relive your greatest altercation at a Miami-Florida State game. I hope it lives up to the 2003 South Bend trip, Rob. No, but it was actually 2003 was the year of violence, apparently, in my life, I think. Yeah, that was a home game. I'll remember. It was a nooner. That was the we're back. You know, both teams were in the top 5 or the top 10 for the first time since 93 or maybe 92 or something like that. Slow drizzle, cold. Roscoe Parish got lit up, but we live in Indian Village, and I'll remember there was this almost this intersection in the neighborhood where there was an opening in the fence line where most people kind of would leave the complex to go start making the walk to Doak. And like right at that sort of intersection was a whole bunch of Miami fans talking. And like I didn't get into the altercation, but my friends did. I just wasn't feeling it. It was cold. I had a lot of anxiety about the game itself. It was raining. I wasn't like in fight mode. But it was like the thing about Battle of the Bastards in Game of Thrones, like that camera angle they have of when like Jon Snow is just like he finally walks out of that, you know, he just stabs a guy and then knocks a guy out of the head and keeps walking forward. That was me, but it was like everybody around me was fighting and just haymakers were being thrown. 3 of my friends absolutely destroyed 3 other Miami guys. It was those ones freak me out more when I'm not fighting, because when I'm involved in it, like I'm kind of regulated of what's going on around me. But that was scary. Like then you hear girls start screaming, and when girls start screaming when they see guys fight, like that hits something viscerally for me that rattles me. But yeah, my friends like mucked up about 4 or 5 Miami fans. It was kind of glorious, but then we got destroyed in Doak that day. It was a terrible game. Terrible game.
I'd also like to say the founders and producers and co-hosts of Wake Up Warchant obviously don't condone violence, don't condone fighting for any reason unless you feel threatened or unless somebody talks smack to you. You got to do what you got to do. But don't do it if there are kids around. Be grown-ups. You know what I mean? Like, go at least off into an alley where some 9-year-old that's at his first ever Florida State-Miami game isn't scarred for life because some drunkard called you a name or said FSU sucks, so you have to go fight them. Yeah. Be grown-ups. Tired of seeing all this on after every Sunday. There's 1,000 YouTube clips or Twitter vids about just a melee breaking out in the stands. What's the matter with y'all?
I know. The NFL game thing freaks me out. Like, how can you feel so passionate about a pro team? But that's neither here nor there, I guess.
I agree. But even college, too, how can you be so fired? I mean, what you're talking about 11 a.m., right?
Yeah, like 11:30 or so.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. Who's going to blows in the morning? Who has a morning brawl?
Well, when you're up drinking since like 7 in the morning, you know, and you've lost how many at that point? There was like 4 years in a row we'd lost to them, and We're
3
back.
years in a row. Yeah.
Yeah, we're back, and all the juice of that game, and it's your house, and then you see all these Miami fans with their T-shirts on, and they're talking their
With their
talk.
T-shirts on.
I don't know, man.
Walking around here wearing your shirts.
Hey, I didn't fight for once. I didn't fight for once. What did you expect? Let's take a break. Over-under's coming up right after this.
At Birch Orthodontics, they know what a difference a beautiful and healthy smile can make in your life.
They take the time to get to know you and perform a thorough exam so that they can make an individualized treatment plan just for you or your child.
They use the latest technology in a warm and comfortable environment. So whether you are interested in traditional metal or clear braces or clear aligners, they can give you the smile you deserve. They know investing in your smile means investing in your future. And at Birch Orthodontics, they are honored to be a part of your smile journey.
Serving Tallahassee for 16 years and supporting the Noles since forever. Check them out at birchorthodontics.com. BURCH orthodontics.com. Welcome back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Zaxby's. Very peaceful edition of this one. This is the Oslo, Norway, Switzerland, neutral. Everyone gets along with everybody here.
Right.
Corey's up on me. I forgot by how many, but I'm feeling the heat coming down on me, so it's time to make a move. And let's get to it then, Corey. Winners of this, again, it's a top 5. The top 2 folks win a T-shirt. Zaxby's got Corey's awesome face on it, my ugly mug, or you can get the free food from Zaxby's, the free salad or the 5 free chicken fingers. And that's what places number 3, 4, and 5 get. The tiebreaker is whoever submits their picks quickest. And if you're on Twitter and you're not a subscriber, you got to ace it to win anything. So them the rules. Let's go. Florida State sacking Miami quarterbacks. Over under 3.
Over.
Ooh. Okay.
That kid holds onto the ball.
I mean, they were living in the backfield against Syracuse. Tommy DeVito's still seeing ghosts that are wearing garnet and gold. 3 though. All right. I'll shade you. I'll take the over on that as well.
Okay,
Number
right.
of wild cam snaps, 19. I'll take the under.
Man. I'm leaning that way too, although I think it should be way over. For some reason, I think it's not going to go great early on because they're going to be so dialed up and ready for it.
Yeah.
That I think maybe the first 3 or 4 plays, only one is positive out of the wild cam, and then they might ditch it a little too soon for my taste. So I'm going to say under as well, but I think it should be. I hope it's over. I think it should be over.
I think is that the stat that would determine the victory? Like if it actually does hit the under, does it mean that Florida State probably lost? And if it's over, does it mean that Florida State probably won when we reconvene?
I don't think the under means that it's definitely a loss, but I think if it's over, then you've definitely won the game because I think that means it's working well.
Okay.
And if you're moving the ball consistently on that defense, you're going to win the game.
Fair enough. Total penalties combined, both teams combined, total penalties, 20.5. I'll take the over.
Wow. I'm taking the under. That's a lot. Yeah. Now, are we talking about accepted penalties, right? Because that's how we'd have to go back and look it up.
Yeah, correct.
So personal fouls offsetting for fighting. Yeah. What would they do to Florida State if a player went over there and ripped the chain off the guy's neck while he was flashing the U to the camera?
You're getting tossed, and you're probably living on a stretcher. They'll probably stomp you if you did.
How are you going to get tossed for what?
Going on their sideline. You can't do that. You can't go on another team's sideline.
Well, you'd get flagged, right? But you wouldn't get ejected.
Oh, come on, Corey.
I mean, I don't think. Well, then you know what? Have Logan Tyler's not on the team.
You might get arrested. That thing is worth thousands of dollars. It might be deemed as some sort of like petty theft attempt or something.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, okay. Then don't do that, kids.
Yeah. I like this one. This is a new one. 3rd down conversion for Florida State, 35% over under. I'll take the under. It's going to be an ugly game.
I think so. I think that's a good number, though. I think that's right at what it will be. I think you're looking at like 4 out of 11, 4 out of 12, something like that.
Announced attendance, 65,501. Over under, Corey.
Oh, over. It's going to be a beautiful day. I think there's going to be people that wake up and see the day. They're in Tallahassee. They're like, you know what? Let's just go. What are we going to do? What are we going to watch? Georgia, Florida? No thanks. Who wants to watch those 2 programs? Let's go watch Florida State and Miami.
Yeah, it's a Miami game. It's the one, yeah, I'll take the over. It will be a beautiful day. I'm looking forward to it. And the last one, total points scored. That's the official number. Again, all these numbers come from the Williams Sportsbook, but the official points scored is confirmed from our friends in the desert. 47. And by friends in the desert, that doesn't mean my family. Stop with your racist jokes, everybody. That was a joke. I hate ever taking the under on any college game that's in the 40s. But I get it. These teams are, handicapped when it comes to playing offense. They don't have good quarterback play. But I'm going to take the over just because I can't do it. Man's got to have principle.
It's 47.5.
Just now, 47. Well, at least what we have here is 47 even.
Yeah, I think all week I've been thinking like 20-16, or even 26-20. You're the under. Yeah, if it's 47, that means one team probably got close to 30.
Like 27-24. I've been thinking 24-20, but yeah, that would be like a 27-24 final.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go. I'll go under. I'm gonna go under.
There we go. The picks are in.
Locked and loaded.
All right, we are done, folks. If you're in town again on Friday, as you're listening to this, come on out to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill anytime between 7 and 11 for the casino night. 6 to 7 will be the meet and greet with Corey, myself, and the rest of the Warchant.com family. And here it is, Corey. This game, it's been circled and squared and checkmarked and everything. It's going to be a beautiful day. We've been talking about what's on the line, but, what should they bring to the table, whether it's their own personal table at home amongst their friends and loved ones or to Doak Campbell Stadium on Saturday at 3:30 when toe meets leather?
In this one, I'm going to talk specifically to the people that are going to the game. You got to bring it. You just got to bring it. I know this isn't what you wanted. It's 4-4. But I tell you what, when Miami's terrible and they're playing Florida State at home, those fans still bring it. I mean, they're there. They show up. For that one game every 2 years, they show up. So I'm calling on Florida State Nation. Seminole Nation. Do we call it Seminole Nation, or is that offensive? I don't know what the protocol is there. But Florida State Nation, you need to be there, and you need to be loud. Get in the game. This is the only game all year you've really had a chance to be kind of excited and amped up about the opponent. So go in there, be loud, make a difference. And I got to say this, folks, and I know earlier in the show I said I don't condone violence. But if you see any Miami fans wearing a T-shirt, you've got to pummel them. What are they doing in your city wearing a T-shirt? That don't fly in Tallahassee. This ain't 5-0. This isn't the 305 where I guess they think they can just wear T-shirts all willy-nilly whenever they want. It's the 850. You don't come into Tallahassee wearing T-shirts. I don't care what they say. Pummel them. Unless there are kids around, then do it. Get the kids out of the way, and then go do it. But you have our permission here at Wake Up Warchant to obviously just inflict as much damage as you want to any Miami fan wearing a T-shirt. Just kidding. Be safe. Have fun. God bless everyone.
If you want an adventure, you could climb a mountain or ride dune buggies through the desert. Or you could just head to your neighborhood Zaxby's. Introducing the Smokehouse Cheddar Barbecue and Southwest Chipotle Filet Sandwich Meals. They're brand new and they'll take your taste buds to wild and exciting new places. Both feature our famous hand-breaded chicken, and they're both available for a limited time. Only at your neighborhood Zaxby's. And don't miss Jumanji: The Next Level, only in theaters.